Welcome to the Scalability Code, the podcast that helps you get out of the shit show and start growing your business. A few times each month, you'll hear stories and commentary from visionary entrepreneurs, EOS implementers, and fractional COOs about how they've taken businesses to level 10. And now, for your host, Matt Haney.
Brooke Lively, thank you for joining us for the Scalability Code. I'm your host, Matt Haney, and I'm really excited to dig in with Brooke and her background and what she's done. So let's kick it off by telling the folks on the podcast here where you're from, a little bit of background, and we'll kick in for after that.
I'm Brooke Lively. I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I don't know how to describe it. I'm a nut for attorneys.
You're probably one of the few people that can say that and actually mean it, right?
I really am. Yeah,
So tell us how you have an affliction for attorneys. Tell us, give me some backstory there.
I do. My father's an attorney. My brother's an attorney. Two of my uncles. I can't even tell you how many cousins. And virtually every guy I've ever dated is a left-handed lawyer who's 6'1" and wears glasses.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I know, isn't it? Even the guys I dated in high school grew up to be 6'1".
Did they grow
lawyers.
up to be left-handed? I think there's something to be said that you can zone in and find the lefties.
I know. I mean, they might be missing one of those things. Like they
That's
might not have
hilarious.
been 11 years older, or they might not have been left-handed, but they had
That's
most of
hilarious. So yeah, so you grew up in a family and still live in a family of lawyers. Man, that makes for some fun conversations around the dinner table.
Let me tell you, I'm great at debating, and
bet
I
you
will
are.
always take the other side of an argument, just for shits and giggles.
Just to be devil's advocate here, I'm like, not really, just to argue with you because I'm really good at it.
Yep. Just because I can.
That is so funny. Oh man,
So-
you should meet my spouse. She would say sometimes I just stir the pot just to argue, and I'm like, no, I just think there's another side of everything. She's like, can you just
Yeah.
agree? No, that's not who you
Well,
married.
But it's so interesting because when I'm in a session room with my clients, and I only work with attorneys,
So great.
I say, all right, I'm going to take the other side of the argument for a moment.
Right.
And they're gearing up because
Right.
a lot of them are litigators.
yep,
And they're
yep.
like, all right, bring it on. And I can make the point, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, that's interesting. And they kind of open their minds some. And that's really rewarding.
That's awesome. So you obviously know a ton of implementers. You've been doing this. How long have you had your practice? How long have you been implementing EOS in any capacity?
About 3 years. I've
Okay.
been running on EOS for 10. I own a fractional CFO company,
And what's the name of that?
CathCap.
CASCAP.
Yeah, we started initially just working with law firms because did I mention I've got this freaky thing with lawyers? And then we did expand beyond the legal industry. But we started running on EOS, more than 10 years ago. But we also looked at our clients and, we're a bunch of data-driven chicks.
Yep.
And we divided our clients into 3 buckets. The clients that came to us and didn't seem to be improving at all. The clients that came to us and were making slow and steady progress.
Mm-hmm.
And then that 3rd bucket of people who just were having hockey stick results.
Yeah.
And like, what are we doing with the 3rd group that we're not doing with the 1st?
All right. Something's different here. What is it?
Yep. Turns out it wasn't us.
Yep.
It was them. And it was execution. We were giving all 3 groups the same tools, the same type of advice. We were doing everything the same. It was a matter, and you know this, Matt, you're in the company.
Yeah.
You are helping them execute. If they execute, if they take the advice, if they complete their rocks, if they do it, there's change. They make progress. And every single one of the clients in bucket C, in that 3rd group, did every single thing we told them to do.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they had those incredible results. And we dug further and found out they were all running on EOS, and it became our number 1 outgoing
So
referral.
you built your CAF cap towards EOS driven businesses, or was there was a not built it, but there was an overlap, a heavy overlap.
There, we didn't build it towards that, but we recommended that all of our clients get on EOS. And whether they knew it or not, the way we ran them was on a loose
Yeah,
EOS
exactly.
kind of. We ran in a 90-day
Yeah.
world. They had
Yep.
rocks.
And that's where I see a lot of people that that don't come to me from the EOS space. They're that's sort of my entry, as I was mentioning to you before we got on. It's like I see a lot of these opportunities where folks are coming in and they really just need structure and support. I sort of drop some soft principles in, and then after we're in it for 30 days, I'm like, we really need to bring an implementer in. I tell the whole story. We bring the implementer in, and they're like, oh, so it's like using the fundamental foundation without going straight into the 90-minute meeting and jumping right in, and it tends to work. So I want to roll back and ask you a couple questions about my two of my favorite words are humility and accountability.
Okay.
Humility, I think, is something I try to mirror and practice and don't take myself too seriously. I know you share that way as well. But you work in a practice almost exclusively focused around lawyers who may
Okay.
or may not stereotypically be the most humble people in the world. Tell me about working in session rooms and challenges with, less than humble leaders.
Oh, um, well, there are a couple of things. One, can I cuss, by the way?
150%. More the better.
All right. If they're total asshats,
Yeah.
I'm not taking them on as clients.
Yeah. At the bottom of
So,
my website, I literally have, did I mention we have a no asshole policy? Like it is written right there. I'm like,
yeah,
it's a non-starter.
if I don't like you, so in my CFO company, we have what we call the yes but rule. And if any potential client during a sales call says yes but 3 times,
Right.
we won't work with them.
Yeah. Tell me more. Why do you say that? I mean, I know, but I want to hear more.
They have told us that they're uncoachable.
Right.
And we have no desire. I have no desire as a CFO or as an implementer to bang my head against the wall all day.
Yeah. To try to help you with an outcome you hired me for
Right.
every
This
day.
this is what you say you want. So if you're not open to it, I'm out.
Yeah.
So first of all, we do that. Second of all, I have no problem going toe to toe with them. And I will give as good as I get. So, if they're an asshat, I'm going to screen them out. If they just want to argue, and if they're not being an asshole about it,
Yeah. Then, yeah.
then I'll go toe to toe, or
Yeah.
I'll make a partner go toe to toe with them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's got to be so hard. It's like I see all, 17, 18 times I've done fractional engagements with various clients. You start to see a lot of different personality types, and the writing gets on the wall a lot more quickly. But I've never worked with a law firm as a fractional integrator. And I was mentioning to you earlier that I have a prospective client who is a husband and wife team in the law space with a third partner. And I who knows what I'm walking myself into, but I'm really interested to see kind of where it goes. So, give me some of the biggest hurdles that you navigate in session. Like what are some of the things that recurringly come up that are always issues that you're like, I got this one. I've heard it and seen it. Tell me about it.
I think the biggest one is partners who don't end up on the leadership team.
Oh, that's fascinating. So you've got a partner in a firm, but they're not involved in making the strategic decisions on how the business operates. Wow. So do you engage with said partners, or your leadership team talking about the strife that causes?
So yesterday, I did a focus day with a firm in Buffalo. The only people that walked in to the focus day were the 3 partners. I was warned beforehand that one of the partners, very valuable to the firm, great guy, he wanted a particular position, but he didn't have the skill set to deliver on it.
Wow.
He didn't GWC the job.
Yeah.
And so we went through and we built it out. We built out the whole accountability chart. And when I build out an accountability chart, I build out those 3 basic boxes: sales and marketing,
Yep.
operations, and finance.
Yep.
And then before I do anything else, I build the owner's box. Before the integrator, before the visionary, I build the owner's box. Because that has to be incredibly important. And I talk about the board of directors and how important that is. And then I put in the integrator, and then I put in the visionary. And so when we had built out their accountability chart and we started putting names in, we put names in the owner's box first. And he thought he was marketing, but by the time we put those 5 roles in there, he knew he didn't GWC that job.
Yeah.
So we filled all the leadership positions and his name wasn't up there.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he was really pretty good about it. Now, he will keep coming to the quarterlies because he sits in that
The
owner's
owner's
box.
box. Yeah. Yeah.
And those owners come as part of that board of directors.
Right. Right. Wow, that's fascinating. Fascinating. And this was during Focus Day.
Focus day.
That's fascinating. And did it change?
But I kicked them out of the weekly leadership. They were already doing weekly
Yeah.
L10s.
Good. Well, that's
And I
good.
booted
But
them out.
yeah. Yeah. No, I listen, I see that often. I inherited a client who was with an implementer. They had left their implementer and I caught him, 2 or 3 quarters after. And they said, will you come help us facilitate the quarterly? I said, I don't do that. That's not my thing. They're like, well, we're going to do it without you. Will you just at least come? I was like, all right, I'll come. So I come. Brooke, I'm not kidding. There were 12 people that showed up. 12 people. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? What am I going to do with 12 people in a room? Like, how do we even?
That's a lot.
So it was, but we quickly had to and when you take people off the leadership team, better than I do. It's a serious thing, right? You're impacting their emotions. You're certainly affecting their ego, and you're certainly changing their day to day. And it's a tough place to be in. But ultimately, I'm sure you'll see with this client, and you have seen with previous clients, that really getting intentional and focused about what the leadership team looks like just eliminates a lot of noise and a lot of chatter and a lot of contentious conversations.
I was working with a firm in Seattle, and we started the day with like 8 people on the leadership team. We started Focus Day with 8 people on the leadership team. We finished Focus Day with 5 people on the leadership team.
Did 3 of them leave the room?
Nope, they all
They
stayed.
stayed in.
Actually, one person hadn't come because she couldn't get into town.
Okay.
So we started with 8, 7 of them in the room. We finished with 5 of them, and all 5 of those were in the room. We started VB1 with those 5 in the room and on the leadership team. By the end of the day, we had added a 6th person to the leadership team that was not in the room. That was one of the ones we had kicked off.
Originally, wow.
Now,
Yeah.
she was like, am I in? Am I
Yeah.
out? Am
What
I
is
in?
it? You
Am I
crazy
out?"
to make up your mind. Yeah. That is so funny.
But you do. You've got to work through it. You've got to figure out. And, one of the people we kicked off was heart-wrenching because he was the person who had been at the firm the longest.
Yeah. That's hard. I've seen that before as well, where you've got a really seasoned, tenured person. Generally, it's in an administrative seat in some capacity from what I see, where it's like, they're a great human and we want to make a room for them and we wrap our arms around them, but they're not in this, they're not here. I mean,
And such a cornerstone of culture.
right.
Right.
That is so true.
And but he doesn't manage anybody.
Yeah.
There's no one reporting to him.
Yep.
And he's not actually a big part of the production process,
Right. Yeah.
and he actually needs to be managed.
Right. Yep. That's so crazy. Law firms are such a unique structure. It really is so unique. I mean, just talking with my prospect who's in the legal space, just trying to understand the reporting structure. And, I feel like for whatever reason, in the service businesses and the types of companies I've worked with, there's really a clear delineation of skill, right? You've got, the executive team, the leadership team, and the, kind of the ground level team. I don't guess you have that as much in law firms because everyone is a lawyer. Well, not everyone. You have paralegals and some admin stuff too, but majority of the firm, I would say, are income producing, highly educated individuals that are competent. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. It's not true. She says no, folks. She says no.
Here's the thing. There are paralegals out there that are smarter, better, and more efficient than the attorneys,
Yeah.
especially a tenured paralegal versus a baby lawyer.
Yeah, an associate or something. Yeah.
So, I mean, there are paralegals in this world that train attorneys.
It's so true. I just immediately think about a partner level person, but not everyone starts a partner. Most people don't.
Not everyone starts a partner.
Yeah. So I hear you.
And-
That's a good point.
And there are some firms, depending upon the type of law they practice, where there may be 10 to 12 paralegals, legal assistants per attorney.
Wow. That's a big firm.
My immigration firms run that way.
Right. Because so
Because-
much of it is administrative and task focused, not litigating in a courtroom or trying cases. Yeah.
We need someone gathering documents,
Right. Compiling information, organizing, delivering. Yeah. That's interesting.
filling out forms, doing
Yeah.
things that way. And so it's really interesting because you have some really skilled people
Right.
that may be running a big team and that interestingly should probably be in charge, but there's an attorney on that team.
Yeah. A subject matter expert, but not
And
necessarily the
they've
person.
got the graduate degree
Yeah.
and they don't want to answer to a paralegal.
Right. Interesting. Interesting.
So we're very often working through in immigration firms and in personal injury firms where most of the cases settled. It's called a pre-lit firm.
Sure.
Pre-lit, you can have one attorney running, it's on the edge of malpractice, but you can have one attorney running 1,000 cases.
Holy cow.
It takes 10 to 12 paralegals to
Yeah,
do that.
you're just a pure organization and keeping up with all the information. And at that point, the lawyer doesn't necessarily know what the case is. He's just going, he or she's going through and running.
They're just signing documents.
Yeah, fascinating.
But that's like what Morgan & Morgan does. But so how do we arrange it to balance the way we need it to run and the egos?
Right. Ooh, it's not easy. There's probably a lot of conversations. There's probably a lot of chatter. Do you find lawyers being more honest and honest is not the right word, forthcoming with opinions? Stereotypically, obviously if you're working with litigators, they would throw that out there. But, I feel like sometimes I'm in a session or a quarterly or an L10 weekly with someone and it's like, I really just want you to tell me what you're thinking because I know you're withholding information for one reason or another.
No, they withhold information.
Okay. For fear of
Absolutely.
upsetting the other people or leadership team dynamics or.
Attorneys are taught in law school never to ask a question if they don't already know the answer. So they will sit there and try to figure everything out and game every outcome. I'm like, can you just tell me what you're thinking
Right.
and then we can game it out loud?
Right. As a group.
Let's do it as a group.
Yep.
And the trust level has to be pretty high. When the trust level is high, everything moves so much faster as it does in any company.
I see that it's like that aha moment. It's like, but if someone said to me, what would be one of the top 3 attributes you'd have on a leadership team member? And I would say number one would be that I can be open and say what I need to say, not hurt someone's feelings, and trust them. Like if you trust is the ever bond in a leadership team, and you see it all the time. When the trust is there, you said it. It's amazing. When it's not,
Yeah.
it's just like two people know what needs to be said, but they don't want to say it because they're going to upset the other person or they're going to offend them or they don't trust her.
Okay, so the team yesterday, where we kicked the partner
Yep.
off the leadership team, right? What was truly amazing was about lunchtime. So I give all of my teams the EOS animals.
Sure. Oh,
and
yeah.
I explain what they are,
Oh, yeah.
rules with
Oh,
animals.
sure.
And one of the partners grabbed the elephant and he said, okay, I've got to use the elephant.
Oh, good. Good for him.
Got to talk about the elephant in the room. And I'm like, all right, where are we going?
Yeah. So good.
And he turned to the partner that I don't think we had kicked him off the leadership team yet, but he's like, I feel like you're upset and you're not saying anything.
In the session or in general? Meaning upset is in
Into the session,
okay,
upset.
got it.
And the
From
discussion
things.
wasn't making it better.
Right. And how did it go? Tell me.
It went so well.
Good. Isn't that great? That's how it should go.
And after, the session was over, we go around the table and, how are
Yep.
you feeling?
Yep.
Were your expectations
Right.
met? Scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate our work today? They then looked at me and they're like, okay, so how did we do?
Ooh, I love that.
I'm like, okay, yes, I'll take a couple of minutes and I'll kind
Yeah.
of stroke your egos
Yeah,
and
yeah.
boost you up, and you did a
Yep.
good job. But really what it was, I was like, the moment you picked up the elephant,
Yeah.
that was huge.
Yeah. And that's a story, Brooke, that we need to continue to tell. And I'm glad you brought it here because we don't tell that story enough. I mean, it's almost like segueing into a session. It would make sense to say, hey, this is the story that just happened in this, referencing that immediately disarms people. And it's like, okay, if we need to do that, we know we can use the elephant, or if we can pick up the jackass and show people, it's like those tools are so, I mean, in the dozens of sessions I've been in, I think they don't get utilized enough. So I love that you
Oh, are you kidding? I will grab the squirrel, put it on my head because
that's
I
funny.
gotta say I squirrel sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I got a squirrel for a minute, and it will sit there on top of my head
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
I squirrel. So I got to squirrel faster; it's gonna fall off.
That's right.
So
That's so funny. That's so funny. In the information, I asked you to put together some thoughts and conversations, and one of the things you said, which I'm going to lead you to this, and then you can take through it. We'll cut it out. But the question I ask you is, in your mind, what's the hardest thing about managing people? And your response was develop EQ enough to understand different people need different things. So that was your response. So I'm going to tee that question up for you, and I'd love for you to expand on it. So, Brooke, I'd love for you to tell me what you think or some of the hardest things about managing people, or if there's a number one thing that you come out with, which it's like, I see this thing often. What is the hardest part about managing people in your mind?
I think it's really figuring out what everybody needs, because we tend to manage the way we want to be managed, right?
Yep.
We give people what we need. The fact of the matter is, we don't all need the same thing. And it becomes frustrating to the people you're managing. So this team yesterday, they're just really fresh in my mind, I guess.
Yeah. No, it happens every time. The last session you go through is the one on your mind. That's the best part. Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and it was while they had the elephant, and they're, going back and forth, and they're talking about it. And I could just see, I've done a lot of work with the DISC assessment in the
sure.
past. And I could just see that we had 2 high Ds and a C.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. And so I finally said, because they were talking about how the one partner didn't participate in the discussions as much. And
Surprise, with 2 IDs next to them? Yeah.
right. And he would kind of forget about conversations that they had had and decisions that were made. And he would kind of
Yeah.
bring them up again later on and want to talk about, they're like, we talked about that.
Yeah, we already solved that problem. Why weren't you helping us? Yeah.
Right. Why weren't you there? Where was your head when we were
Right.
doing that? And so I had to stop and say, okay, guys, you all make decisions really fast. And they're like, oh yeah, lightning fast. I'm like,
Yeah.
and you make that decision by talking out loud. They're like, uh-huh, yeah, back and forth. He never participates. I'm like, mm-hmm. I'm like, and you like to listen to all the information. He's like, yeah. I'm like, are you ready to make a decision as soon as you hear it? He's like, no, I'm really not. I'm like, you need to go home and sleep on it, right? He's like, yeah, I really do. So
Yep.
And then the next day, after you've kind of thought about it and processed it, then you kind of come back with your answer. He's like, yeah, then I'm ready. And I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, y'all have made the decision. And he hadn't even heard the question yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
they're
always
like,
say people
"What?"
process. I process with my mouth open, and there's people that process with their mouth closed. And we need to understand that there are people in the room that process differently. And I love the way you said you did. Was that an aha moment? Obviously, they knew that, but they didn't know it the way you said it.
Yeah, they didn't understand that they needed to change the way they worked to accommodate them.
Yeah. Or at least be aware of it. Jeez.
I'm like, here are little things. If you are going to discuss something in a meeting tomorrow, let him know today.
Ah.
That way he can think about it overnight. So when you guys show up and you start processing out loud, he's ready to jump in.
Right. So what does that look like? Review the issues list ahead of time, or like what was that like? Add, physically, everyone has to have the issues list done by Thursday if the meeting's on Friday. Just make sure that there's a chance for that. That's a good idea. It's a good call.
So that was exactly what it was. And like when you go into an L10, I turned to the one partner. I'm like, you have to review everything the day before.
Yeah.
Not to look at those issues. You have to think about it. You have to look at the scorecard. You have to look at what rocks are off track and decide if you think you're going to need any more information about any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. In order to have a meaningful conversation.
You also need to be prepared that if any of your stuff is off track, that you need to be prepared to talk about it.
Right.
Somebody might ask. And I said, most of the software will allow you all to take notes about your conversations. When you IDS, make notes about the discussion, and they go out after the L10, and then he's got a record of the conversations and the decisions that were made.
Or summarizing it or asking, all the note-taking platforms out there, you can get all that information handed to you.
Then he sees it again. It reinforces it. There's some time that has elapsed, and he can process it better. And they're like, oh. I'm like, everybody just needs to... There's stuff that y'all need to do for him, and there's stuff that he needs to do for you all.
Absolutely. Let's talk for a second about the integrator seat. Obviously, as a fractional integrator, that's what I do every day and what I love, working alongside, visionary entrepreneurs and visionary implementers like yourself. And if you can use yesterday's session as an example, or you can think back through it. I'm curious what the integrator position looks like in a law firm. And I don't have a ton of, I know a lot about law firms, but I haven't led, law firm companies or law firms previously. What's the dynamic between, and are there big visionary leaders in the law firm side compared to these integrator pieces? And sort of give us some color and some stories around what you've seen good integrators look like in a law firm.
I have seen great integrators that look like all kinds of different things. Mm-hmm. So the group yesterday, the integrator's an attorney. Mm-hmm. And he has a mind that works at the detail. And he sees the interplay between things. Mm-hmm. And understands how things work. And when you pull lever A, this is what's going to happen over here.
Yeah.
And And that's fabulous because he can see the big picture and he can see the impact,
Right.
when marketing does something, how that's going to affect production.
Sure.
I have other integrators that aren't attorneys, that know nothing about the law at all, but again, have that same ability to see the detail and see the interplay
Yeah.
and look for the bottlenecks and the problems and figure out how to make it all run smoothly.
Do you find it sometimes easier when there's not a lawyer in that seat? Or is it, I mean, I guess every company is unique, but I always wonder like how much is how much is subject matter expertise relevant in that seat?
We always need a head of legal.
Sure.
So, and that 99.9% of the time is an attorney, because if we have a non-attorney head of legal, we got some cranky lawyers.
Yeah. Because they don't know law.
They don't,
Yeah.
they don't know law.
Yeah. But
Know
is
what they're
that
talking
is that head of legal generally the integrator? Not always. Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah. Interesting.
But they represent legal on that, the head of legal represents legal on that leadership team
That's right.
and is often, but not always, a partner.
Yeah. That would make sense.
In fact, most of my partners would like to get out of the head of legal
Yeah.
seat. They don't want that.
That was like a lot of work, a lot of
I know.
liability.
That's not true. I've got a team in North Carolina, and there is one of the partners is a total visionary. They've got a non-attorney integrator, and the head of legal is the other partner, and he doesn't want to do anything
Yeah.
but teach and train the younger attorneys
It's kind of cool. I mean,
and go to trial.
yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah.
That's his jam. I'm like, good.
God, the
He's
world
like,
needs more people like
I don't
him.
have to work about. He's like, I don't have to worry about the marketing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, that's
See
not
ya.
your job.
No, that's so great. That's so great. I love people that have that passion for teaching and growing and building. I do that all, and probably more than 50% of my job is growing up next level of leadership and leveling them up to a place where they understand what success looks like, and they're building good habits, and they're establishing their voice, and they're becoming a leader themselves, so that they're taken seriously by that senior partner who will trust them and believe in them.
Well, and that is something that is very often missing in law firms, is kind of that middle management. And not just missing in attorneys, but missing in the staff also.
Right.
Because you need people to lead the paralegals. You need people to lead the different offices and things like that. And
Yeah.
very often someone's given a secretary or a receptionist a title, no power and no training.
That's exactly right. I see that often too. The accounts payable clerk turns CFO. So that's a hard one. Ooh. Yeah. And I mean, I see it so often, Brooke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said for fun you like to travel, and your happy place is on an airplane.
Yeah, I was on an airplane this morning.
You were on one this morning on your way back from Buffalo, I think, which is less desirable than probably some of the places you like to go. No shame on Buffalo. But what's
No
the
shame
next,
on Buffalo.
what's the last trip you had for fun? And what's the next trip you have planned? Either with family, without, whatever. The last one and the next one.
Well, I've got 2 family trips planned, one to the mountains in North Carolina and one to the mountains in Colorado, but those aren't the trips I'm really excited about.
All right.
The trips I'm excited about in the beginning of October, kind of beginning to mid-October, I'm going to Italy with some friends.
Oh, how wonderful. Where are you going? What
And-
part?
We're going to Bologna, and we're going to Bologna for the cars.
Oh,
So we get to drive Ferraris for 2 hours
how
up
fun.
in the hills. We were supposed to have a private tour of Maserati,
wow.
and Maserati factory, and Maserati decided that they were going to close. They weren't supposed to be closed, but now they've decided to close while we're there. So now I'm working on a private tour of the Ferrari factory.
How fun.
We have booked a private tour of the Pagani factory.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know about that. They
I
build
know.
like 23 cars a year.
They're a zillion dollars in Uber, supercar, the
Yeah.
whole thing. Yeah, not familiar.
Yes.
So what's your connection to cars? I mean, what's the story?
I'm going with 5 guys.
That love cars and no cars.
Yeah, I
Well,
totally
that's going
thought
to be
that would do it. And I am drawing the line at the Ducati factory. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
But that'll be kind of cool. I don't love motorcycles, but I love the Ducati brand, and I love the colors, and well, that'll be an exceptional trip. I've been all over Italy. I've never been to Bologna.
I haven't either. I am going to make all the guys go to the largest pasta factory in the world.
Oh my gosh. The food in Italy I've probably been to Italy 6 times, and it's my favorite place to go. And I'm actually leaving on Saturday to go to France with my wife to go to the Burgundy wine region of France, which I've never been to. I've actually never been to Paris. I've been all over Europe, but I've never been to Paris. So we're going to go have dinner in Paris and then drive down to the Burgundy region with 2 other couples and drink wine. And
Okay, wait. You only have one meal in Paris?
I only have one meal in Paris. Well, we land.
Okay.
We overnight on Saturday. We land Sunday, so we're there like Sunday morning, and then we leave. Yeah, one meal, one meal, and
Okay.
maybe we'll find another, but I don't know.
Because you probably have your one restaurant planned, right?
My wife does. She has one place
Okay.
that she really wants to go to. She's been to Paris before, but I will take your suggestion. If you have a place,
I have one
Okay.
of the best chicken places ever.
oh, she loves chicken. Don't tell me this. All right, what is it?
It is so good. I will send you the
Okay.
information.
Please send it to me because if I come out of this meeting that we're in now with the chicken place in Paris that we need to go to, I'm instantly going to be starting the trip out on the right foot.
Here's how good it is. I was going from Amsterdam to London. I went from Amsterdam to London through Paris. So I
That math doesn't work,
there.
but you wanted to go. That's so good. Well, you'll absolutely have to send it to me because I'm excited. I'm trying to be optimistic. I've never been to Paris, but I don't love the idea of Paris. But what I do love is
Paris.
getting 3 hours
Love that
outside of it.
place.
What's that?
I don't love Paris, but I love that chicken place.
But I'm excited to get out and see. I mean, like being around craftsmen and artisans and the artists who make things, and being in a small city where there's a family that's multi-generation that's run this vineyard or run this restaurant. It's like that is the purest form of entrepreneurship. That wasn't called entrepreneurship back then. It was just called living and surviving and keeping multi-family generation businesses alive. And so I do love, shaking hands with the people that are, continuing their great grandfather's legacy. It's really cool. Well, great. Well, listen, this has been a lovely conversation with you. I've loved getting to know more about you and law firms, and just wanted to say thank you for joining us in the Scalability Code and sharing some knowledge and wisdom you've gained for working with these firms.
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it.
We'll talk to you very soon.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Scalability Code. If you made it this far, please follow the show on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get out of this show together. We'll see you next time on the Scalability Code.